Welcome back to another video. Today is the 30th day of the 30 for 30 journey. And I am so grateful that you guys stuck it out with me and rode on this journey with me and kind of explored these things that I've been thinking about over the last 30 days as I enter my 30s. And I'm just excited. I am blessed. I am thankful. I am grateful that I'm able to see it. So at the time that you are watching this video, it is July 2nd. It is my birthday and I am 30, honey. I'm grown, honey. And funny enough, the topic that we're talking about today, even though I'm really excited and really lighthearted, it's to me, it's something that I'm passionate about. I think that it's connected to my purpose and what I do and career-wise that I wanted to talk about. It is personal, but I think part of this is being vulnerable. Of course, I'm not a person that always shares intimately, but I want to be vulnerable at times and really share things. So yeah, let's get into it. So before we kind of get into it, let's go ahead and make a cheers. Clang, clang, clang to my 30th, pour up, drink up, take a shot for me in celebration of the big day. I'm drinking a little champagne, So let's get into it. Number 30. It is to get my PCOS in order. And for those of you that don't know, PCOS is a medical condition. That is, PCOS stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome. It is a hormonal issue that actually a lot of women deal with, and some don't even know that they're dealing with. There is symptoms from kind of mild to severe. And I'm going to kind of talk about it a little bit, give you a little bit of education, and talk about what that journey is going to be like for me. So what is PCOS? So PCOS is a hormonal issue that affects a woman's or has imbalances in hormones. And it is kind of estimated that about 1 in 10 or at least 5% of the women of reproductive age in the United States are affected by PCOS. That's about 5 million women. And it's so surprising oftentimes when I have conversations with other women, different things like that, how little so many of us, know about it or even know that we might be suffering with it. And I think that oftentimes, at least in my experience, because, I've always had crazy and off the wall periods and things like that, doctors oftentimes were like, here's birth control, get on birth control, and that will kind of fix your problem. When it was deeper than that, right? The birth control kind of just, dealt with the symptoms and dealt with the surface of it, but really it was so much more that went into what was going on with me. And it really took me, one, self-advocating and also pursuing the right doctor that cared enough to listen to what I was going through to even be officially diagnosed. Because I know I felt that there was more to what was going on with me in my periods versus that oh, you're just a girl and you have crazy periods. And because of that, I think that so many women are unaware of how this can affect them, particularly me, where for me, I'm at a stage in my life that I'm ready to have children and different things like that and grow my family with my husband. But, knowing that I have PCOS, that kind of is a potential barrier. Not that it's impossible. There's tons of women that, even with PCOS naturally have children, but it is a barrier. It's something that you have to work through for a lot of women. And the fact that, it's not even a space that providers bring it up, is one disheartening for me. And I think that's why I said in the beginning that this is really tied to the work that I was meant to do. I felt that my purpose on this earth is to serve women, particularly Black women, around reproductive health, right? Around child and infant mortality and different things like that. So even me going through this, I don't see it as something that sucks and I'm or anything like that. I kind of see it as something for me to learn to be able to use that to help other women that are not in the space or in the field of healthcare. They may not even understand what's going on with them. So like symptoms associated with PCOS is irregular periods, right? Menstrual cycles, having too much hair. Like oftentimes women that feel like they either have like, like growing little chin hairs or anything like that. Women that have acne or a lot of acne and they struggle with acne on the face, on the chest, on the back. Women that have thinning hair or thinning hair lines. Women that have weight gain issues. That's really hard for them to lose weight. Darkening of the skin, particularly around the neck, the inner thighs for a lot of women. And skin tags. And again, some people that deal with PCOS don't have all of these symptoms. So that's sometimes what makes it hard. Like for me, I don't naturally grow chin hairs. I've always had like really good, really clear skin. Even though I said that I've grown or gained weight from where my normal is, I wouldn't consider myself as somebody that's like, or morbidly obese or feel like I struggle with constantly gaining weight. That's not my circumstances. So for me, what really aligned it for me was the irregular periods, right? So out of all the things that I even read, I only actually struggled with really like one piece of those things. And that was the thing that made it so hard for doctors to even talk about it, because if they look at me, they'd be like, oh, you're not, the person that we see when we think about PCOS. But because of that, that leads to fertility issues in a lot of women. And also just like, like all of those things as a woman makes it hard for you to, can cause self-esteem issues and other things, inadequacies and stuff like that. But I know for me that understanding my PCOS is much greater than that, right? And when I talk about the aspect of getting my PCOS in order is one, finding a provider that cares to listen, that walked this journey on me, because I've known that I potentially had PCOS since like college, right? Even though I self-diagnosed myself, but I felt like, it could have been that. And oftentimes it's hereditary too. That's something I didn't mention. So oftentimes if there is, fertility issues or like women in your family that have PCOS, there's a greater chance that you might also have PCOS. And for me, doctor after doctor, gyno after gyno I went to, everybody simply just said, oh, get on birth control, get on birth control, get on birth control. And it really took me seeking out a Black provider, a Black woman that cared enough to even listen to me. And how I even got down this journey is after explaining to her about the years of just like being kind of dismissed, the first thing she asked me was, do you have fibroids? And I was like, I don't think so, but I don't know. And we went down this path together, and she eliminated fibroids, and then she decided, okay, well then let's talk about PCOS. And I was like, well, that's what I think I have. And we discussed why and different things like that. And then we went down that path, and I was officially diagnosed just a few years ago. And, to me, it was more of a moment where I was just like, I knew that. Now I have an official diagnosis. Now I have the ability to have the words to connect to what I feel like I was going through, but I also have something now to know what I can work on to be able to deal with this. And another symptom of PCOS is insulin resistance, right? So that is also oftentimes associated with diabetes. So some people, might be, misdiagnosed slightly with something else that could be that, PCOS reflects. And there's so much to this, but really getting to understand it more and getting on the right medications for, my symptoms and how to regulate it has made me feel so much better. But also, like, for me, has allowed me and given me the courage and the verbiage to have these conversations so openly. That I know that there's probably plenty of women that probably know that they have PCOS and are just afraid to even tell people. And that's one of the reasons why I hate when people would be like, oh, Cassandra, oh, Carlo, y'all been married for this long, why don't y'all have kids or whatever? And I'm just like, sometimes it's like, for the first couple years of me and Carlo's marriage, we were having fun. We were enjoying it. We were both in school. Like, these are things that, like, having a child just wasn't the right timing for us, right? And we were okay with that. And of course, now that we've kind of entered a space that we are ready to have children, now knowing that obviously there's something for us to work through, it's kind of insensitive to keep asking people when are they going to have kids, because it may not have been PCOS. We may have never desired to have children, or there could have been something else going on. And to think that is as if that we wouldn't be happy without children is one very old school mindset, but also like, girl, it ain't your marriage. Boy, it ain't your marriage. It's none of your business. As long as me and him are okay and me and him are happy, like, stay out of my uterus. Stay out of my uterus, right? And I am so appreciative that I have a husband that understands, that is so compassionate and so caring to what that I'm like, through what I'm going through, and so supportive. He's always like, whatever the doctor says, however I can support you, however I can be there, I'm there for you. And we've had conversations about, what that would look like if we ever were to go other routes and different things like that. And that's the one thing that I want to empower women to do, is to have more conversations about their infertility. And of course, it may not be with everybody, but have conversations with your partner very openly. Have conversations with your provider. If you feel like something's going on and the provider is not listening, child, get another doctor. If you feel like, you're asking questions and they don't even have the answers, because there's a lot of doctors that probably don't even know what PCOS is. Even gynecologists that don't really understand the metabolic, the metabolic, processing of PCOS in it. And I'm glad that I searched and I did not stop until I found someone that understood, that had the verbiage, that had the understanding for us to walk down this path together. And I love her terribly, where my provider, she has conversations, right? She check in on me, and I can text her through our portal anytime and ask questions, and she's there at my disposal. And because of her, I know that we'll get to a place that, we'll have the vision that we want, even if it's an unconventional one. So when I talk about really getting my PCOS in order, it's really about the idea of, walking down this path with myself and my health, and finding out a way that has the best outcome for me and my husband. So yeah, I know this one's a little deep, right? And probably unexpected for a lot of people, because of course people don't talk about these things. But I encourage women who feel like, maybe they felt like something was up, or they don't know, where to go. I advise and I recommend that you advocate for yourself and find the provider that can be that support system for you. And also find someone that you can talk to about it. Because yes, it's difficult. And for some people, it might have trampled the dream of having children, but it is not the end all be all. There's so many, child, it's 2022. So there's so many options and so many things that people can do now to be able to have children. If it's adoption, if it's IVF, if it's surrogacy, if it is having a child but getting on medication to help you to ovulate, or whatever like that. Like, there is options out there, and I'm glad that I have the language to be able to talk about it and encourage. So if you have questions about PCOS, feel free to either message me down below, or DM me, and I can provide you with what I know and at least somewhere to start. So thank you again for joining me. And today's the last day of this 30 for 30 journey. I'm so excited that you were able to walk this journey with me. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will be moving towards a more, topic-based conversations about different things. But one thing I want to say is thank you. Thank you for walking this journey with me. Thank you for being on this process with me. I want to thank my husband, the videographer, the editor. All this is him. Okay? All this that you see is him. And I'm so grateful for you being my partner and for you supporting me, honey. And I am looking forward to the conversations that we'll be having here. What I would love is that my YouTube is really going to be a lifestyle conversation-based YouTube. Having deep and honest conversations with my friends and my family and the people around me and the people that I know, but also showing you a little bit of my life and what I do in my travels and my journeys and all of the things. So welcome to this community. I look forward to seeing you again. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, see you in another video.